check it out. Hey YouTube, welcome to the channel, check it out. And today we're going to start the techniques for the use of the nunchucks. What I've done here is I've broken this down into multiple videos, and we're going to start pretty simple, and then each video will show one, maybe two techniques that will build on the one that was taught previously. So for people that are experienced with the nunchucks, this may be a little boring in the beginning. But if you are new to it, then please take my advice here and start from the beginning, work slow, and then progress as we go. And at the end, the whole thing will come together. All right, with that being said, the first thing we're going to start with today is, now that you have your nunchucks and you want to learn how to swing them and to spin them, how do you hold the things? Well, that's pretty easy, actually. There's two schools of thoughts on how to hold them. The one school of thought is to hold them way back at the end like this for more reach, potentially more power, so on and so forth. For me personally, I suggest that the nunchucks be held right back behind the end toward the chain. And depending on the style of nunchuck you get, there's a different balancing point on these that will help the way that it spins around your body. And the way that you can find the balancing point is just to take two fingers and slide them up and down the stick until you find that point where the nunchuck balances on your fingers. At that point right there is the point that I would suggest gripping your nunchucks. By doing this, you will get more control, and eventually you'll be able to get better speed. And because of the speed, in my opinion, you won't be sacrificing any power. So now that we know how to hold the nunchuck, we're going to start off with, in this video in particular, 2 spins, a figure 8, and 1 catch. And that will give us the basis and the foundation for the future videos. The first spin that we're going to do is basically a reverse spin. Some people call it a helicopter spin or a propeller spin. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold the nunchucks out to the side like this in the grip that we just talked about. And then we're going to start swinging the end that's hanging up toward the front and around to the back like that. Now, what we want to do is keep that momentum going, just like that. Now, most of this motion is in the wrist when you're doing this. It's not in the shoulder like this, okay? You keep your elbow down and let your wrist do the work right here. This is a good exercise in the beginning to help you get the feel for the spin, and it's good exercise to get the overall feel of the weight. Once you do enough of these, whatever you feel is enough, then as it's coming down, just drop down, stop it. From the side, this is how it looks. Out in the side, just bring it up and around. Now with this motion right here, you don't want to go too slow, because it's just the nunchucks are based a lot on centrifugal force, and if you go too slow, there's a much better chance of it coming in a different direction and hitting yourself. So don't be afraid to spin it out, but don't go too fast either, because the opposite thing can happen, that until you get the feel for it, it could also come back at a bad angle. So just take your time with it, let it spin, drop it down. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Hold it out to the side, swing to the back. and stop it. Now this motion might seem very simple, but it will lay the foundation for a lot of the movements that'll come up later. Drop it. Now the next motion is going to be the forward spin, and that is basically just the reverse of what we just did. So you're going to hold it out to the side, but this time you're going to come around the back to the front and have your spin go in that direction. Try to keep your arm more out to the side, because if you put it out here like this and you try to go straight, it's going to come back and hit you. So try to keep your arm out to the side, your elbow tucked in, the motion with your wrist, like this. It's the same motion, just in opposite direction. Drop it right straight down when you've done enough of those. Okay, switch hands, and it's the same thing again. Just bring it around to the front and perform the spin. And when you've done enough, drop it right down to stop it. So now we have the rear spin, stop, and the forward spin, stop. And you could do this as many times as you want until it feels very, very comfortable. Now what we want to do is we want to introduce the figure 8 pattern. The figure 8 pattern will start out in front. It's going to come over the shoulder. You're going to make an X in front of your body, like this. When your arm's out in front of you, the stick's going to swing on the outside, inside, like that. Now, one thing you shouldn't do is go super wide like this. I've seen that many times with people in the beginning, and I encourage you to try to stay a little closer to your body. What I suggest is that we stay within these boundaries right here, shoulder to shoulder, like this. And as you get better at it and more proficient at it, then I even suggest here, like this. But not out here. Not way out here. And then once it comes down on the outside, bring it right down, just like you did on the other spins. Switch sides. And the same thing, downward figure 8. Now this is also mostly in the wrist, a little bit of shoulder work back and forth. Okay, it's not going to be all shoulder like this. It's going to be in your wrist. And the shoulder is just going to pull it over a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right. Then when it gets to the outside, drop it straight down. So now we're going to add one more thing. We're going to add the under the arm catch. And we're going to do that first from the forward spin. The forward spin, as you just learned, is just this right here. But now what we're going to do is, as it's coming around from top to bottom toward the front, we're going to pull it in and under the armpit and catch it under the armpit. Like that right there. Good. Drop it down. Forward spin. Once it comes down, bring it in and pull it in. Now you might think, wow, this kind of feels like the downward figure 8 in some of the motion, and that's because it is somewhat related. I mean, some of the spins or some of the angles are the same. So if you're doing the downward figure 8 like this, as it's coming down on the inside of your arm, you'll pull it in like that. Then from here, you can drop the bottom one and do the rear spin, okay, drop it, go back with the front spin, catch it, drop it, figure 8, catch it, drop it. And it'd be the same thing on this side right here. So we'll start off with the forward spin, catch it, the downward figure 8, do a catch, up to the rear spin, drop it, downward figure 8, catch it, rear spin, forward spin, catch it. Now right now we're just passing the nunchucks back and forth to each hand as we're doing each side. With the future videos, the new techniques will come up that will allow us to pass it from side to side. These 3 spins and this 1 catch are, for me, the basic foundation of a lot of the work that's to come in future videos. So it may seem simple at first glance, and it may even seem simple physically, but understanding the feel and the motions are very important to a lot of the techniques that I will be showing coming up. So in conclusion, I'll just show a little bit more of how even these simple movements can look like you've been doing nunchucks for a long time. Simple spin, stop, forward, catch, drop, figure 8, the catch, the spin this way, catch, spin, stop, forward 8, catch. I hope you got something out of this first video, and I hope you come check out the next one and the next one after that out.